رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم مصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتاب الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إلا المودة في القربى. وقال إمام أمير المؤمنين: أملكوا عني هذا الغلام لا يهدني. Salawat. In the name of God, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Previous lecture we talked about Imam Hassan, for those who were here, and we talked about how much he is underrepresented in our majlis, in our discussions, and there is very little known about Imam Hassan. Tonight is a continuation of that. If you look around this very majlis, you will see posters that denote to certain figures. If you look here, this says Ya Abu al-Fadl, Ya Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. So that's for Imam al-Hussein, that's for Hazrat Abbas, that's for Zainab al-Kubra. Behind you, for example, is Ya Fatimat al-Zahra. So you have these figures. But I can't see a single banner for Imam al-Hassan. And this needs to be a point of reflection for us as well. Because Imam al-Hassan is just as important as Imam al-Hussein. The stand that Imam al-Hussein has at Karbala, the very first initial stand was by his brother Hassan. But we know very little about Imam al-Hassan. So tonight, inshallah, we'll shed some light on Imam al-Hassan to understand what type of individual he was. Tonight, we will look a bit more historically about Imam al-Hassan's stances, about his attitude, the way he behaved, so that these can be lessons for us, inshallah. Imam al-Hassan, as I mentioned in the previous nights, a lot of misconceptions had been derived or made about him. To many people, Imam al-Hassan was a very passive. In our language, or in our day-to-day language, he was low-key. He liked the chill life. He didn't want to get himself a headache. He didn't want to cause himself problems. And he decided to stay away from the political world. But when we actually look at history, this is far from the truth. Imam al-Hassan was one of the very first people to be upfront when it comes to politics. Imam al-Hassan was the very first people, or one of the first people, who would stand for his principles. Because the idea that is pictured or painted about Imam al-Hassan is that he was a chill guy, very quiet, very innocent, and he decided not to harm anybody else. And he decided to keep to himself, and that's about it. Tonight, I'd like to show you a different perspective of Imam al-Hassan to address these misconceptions. There were many accusations about Imam al-Hassan. One accusation, it was an insult made towards his name, is that he sold his khilafah for 7 million dirham to Muawiyah. He, na'udhu billah, some would classify him as a fraud. He says, you claim to be the son of Ali, but you sell your khilafah to Muawiyah for 7 million dirhams. You were bribed to give your leadership. That's one accusation or insult. Another one, they used to call him names. They used to call him Muzammil al-Mu'mineen, the one who let down the believers, the one who disappointed the believers. Why? Because they said that your father died courageously. He died in prayer, but he did not let go of your principles. But you, through your actions, you have let down the mu'mineen. Now we need to understand the context as to why these things were being said about Imam al-Hassan. And we'll get into it, inshallah. Another one that was an insult made about him was Muswadd al-Wujuh, where his face, they would describe him as the one whose face was blackened. Your face had become black. It's a way to say that you brought shame upon the ummah. You brought dishonor upon the ummah because you did something that we could not expect you to do. So these were insults on Imam Hassan's name that we need to look at tonight to understand why they were made and to address these points, inshallah. Because when we look at bravery, the first person that comes to your mind is Amir al-Mu'mineen. The second, let's say, it's Imam al-Hassan. Why? Because of his stances at Karbala. Then let's say, for example, it would be Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, because he would rather lose his arms than let his master die before him. Or he would protect his master Hussein and he was ready to give his life. But what if I told you that this Hassan bin Ali is exactly the same thing, but you just don't know it? You see, in the battle of Jamal, the battle of the camel, where the wife of Rasulullah was in war with Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam al-Hassan is there. Very little is known about Imam al-Hassan's stance at Jamal. Imam Ali requests his son, Hassan bin Ali, and his companion Ammar bin Yasir. Before the battle began, he said, I need you to recruit some of my soldiers, my troops. When it comes to oratory, speech, public speaking, there is no one that comes near Imam al-Hassan. Imam al-Hassan and Ammar bin Yasir, they went to Kufa, they gave a lecture, such a lecture where 8,000 people joined them in a span of a few days. One lecture, two lectures from Ammar bin Yasir and Hassan bin Ali. Master of oratory, Hassan bin Ali. When the battle begins, Hassan bin Ali is not passive behind in the tents. No, let's look at the lineup. You know how in football you have lineups? You have the attacking striker, you have the centre forward, you have the cams. Imam Ali, there was a tradition in those times where the army or who were fighting against each other, they would announce themselves. And they would see, and they would look at their side soldiers and they would announce them as well. So when Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen is announcing his army, he says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I, Ali ibn Abi Talib, commander of the armed forces. To my right is Malik al-Ashtar, one of the most loyal companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen. To my left, Hassan bin Ali. Behind me is Hujr bin Adi. To his left, for example, Kumail bin Ziyad. To his left, or to his right, Hussein bin Ali. So he would argue and he would announce every single one of them. We realize that Hassan bin Ali is at the forefront. This is a very different picture to the Hassan bin Ali that you hear that he's a very quiet guy. In the Battle of Jamal, the performance of Hassan bin Ali is remarkable. I want you to listen very carefully to what happens in the Battle of Jamal. The Battle of Jamal, one of the key figures of that battle was the camel. That's why it's called Battle of the Camel. There was a lady that was sitting on the camel, which was in charge of the opposition's army. You know how in a battle, if you've watched historical movies, there's a person that has a flag. And that flag is basically the morale of the army. If the flag bearer is killed, then the army's belief is shaken. They're like, we lost our flag, man. It's a huge blow to the morale of the army. The same thing could be applied to that camel. So Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, in the Battle of Camel, he realized that, listen, the battle is going to keep on going unless we get rid of that camel. Unless we get rid of that camel. He gives an advice to one of his sons, Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah. Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah was one of the sons of Imam Ali through another wife, which was not Fatima al-Zahra. He looks at him, and in Sermon 11 in Nahj al-Balagha, it mentions it. He says, La tazul al-jibal wa la tazul. And he gives them, you know how you have your pep talk? You have a big game, it's a match day, and your coach gives you that pep talk. That boys, we need to go out, we need to go strong, so on and so forth. Imam Ali uses this opportunity to give his son a pep talk. And he gives him such a pep talk. What does he say? He says, Tazulul jibal wa la tazul. Mountains may move from their positions, but you don't. Which means what? You have to be firm. You have to be strong. Today is the day where you show yourself, my son Muhammad. And then the final command that was given to Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiya, he said, my son, I need you to go and put that spear into that camel, into the camel's leg. Because he realized the only way this battle is going to end if that spear goes through the camel's leg and the camel falls down, game over, war is over. So Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiya tries. He goes out, he's trying to reach the camel, but the opposition army has such a formation where he just can't pierce through. He goes from one side, they intercept. He goes from the other side, they intercept. He keeps going, he keeps trying until he comes back. He can't do it. He comes back to Amir al-Mu'mineen, and as he's about to come to Amir al-Mu'mineen, one other individual grabs the spear from his hand. That being none other than Hassan bin Ali. Hassan bin Ali, when he realizes that Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiya has not been able to put that spear, grabs the spear and he charges straight through that army. The historians say that Hassan bin Ali on that day did not give a 10 out of 10 performance. He gave an 11 out of 10 performance. He went through the army like it was nothing. He went and with the help of Malik al-Ashtar, he put a stab on the spear, or he speared the camel on the leg. Before the camel was stabbed, there was one other companion of Amir al-Mu'mineen where he said, listen, I've ordered these two to stab the camel. But when the camel is stabbed, the lady falling from the camel is going to fall down. And that lady that's going to fall down happens to be the wife of the Prophet. So what I want you to do is, as she's about to fall down, I want you to grab her so that she doesn't fall to the ground. He says, okay, no problem. So Hassan and Malik go, they stab the spear on the camel, the lady's about to fall down. As the lady's about to fall down, this companion grabs her. Fiqh problem. Fiqh problem, a jurisprudential problem. Now you and I cannot touch a mahram, someone who is not mahram to you. And that the lady picked up on that fiqh problem. She looked at that man and said, how dare you touch the wife of the body of the wife of Rasulullah when you are not mahram to me? She turned around and the answer was a devastating answer. He said, I am Muhammad, son of Abu Bakr, your brother holding you. Which means that the only person in Ali's army who was mahram to that lady was none other than his brother, Muhammad, the son of the first Khalifa. Look at the foresight of Ali. That even in battle, he doesn't lose his principles. He could have easily said, listen, we're at war. It doesn't matter, just defeat the opponent. No. He takes into account the fiqhi problems, even in war. So he says to Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr that, listen, when Aisha is about to fall, you grab her because you're the only one that is mahram to her. But without a doubt, it is the performance of Hassan bin Ali on that day that I'm trying to highlight to you that was special. Now, Hassan bin Ali has built himself a resume on the battlefield, because sometimes when you do a good performance, you build yourself a resume and your name becomes slightly famous and people know you. So when we fast forward from the Battle of Jamal to the next battle, which is known as Battle of Siffin, Hassan bin Ali, I don't want to take too much of your time, but to give some context, Battle of Siffin is against a man by the name of Muawiyah. Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan, the father of Yazid. Yazid is the one who orders the killing of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. So the father of Yazid is the one fighting Imam Ali in Siffin. And Hassan bin Ali is there on that day as well, he's ready. And he says to his father, oh my father, let me go answer these people. Muawiyah, Amr ibn As, whoever, let me go and answer them. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, أَمْلِكُ عَنِّي هَذَا الْغُلَامِ لَا يَهُدَّنِي. It's a beautiful line that he says. And it shows you how much love he had for Imam al-Hassan and how much important he thought Hassan was. He says, hold back this young man today. He said to his other soldiers, he said, hold back this young man on my behalf before he causes my ruin, because I'm about to send to battle two of the fragrances of Rasulullah. Because what we mentioned last night was that Hassan and Hussein, Sayyida Shabab Ahl al-Jannah, they are the masters of the youth of paradise. And Imama is to continue in their lines. When we look at the line, when you know your 12 Imams, after Imam Hassan comes who? Imam Hussein. After Imam Hussein comes who? Zayn al-Abidin, through the line of Imam al-Hussein. Ali ibn Abi Talib, Imam Ali alayhi salam, is pointing to this fact that, listen, today, if I send both of my boys to the battlefield and they end up injured or losing their life, then I have committed injustice to myself because I have not kept the line of Imamah alive. So that's why he's making this line. He says, because if I send them to, I am almost cutting the line of the Holy Prophet, the descending line of the Holy Prophet. Now, did Imam al-Hassan perform on the battle? Yes, he did. But he was restricted a bit more by his father on that day. So bravery, quite clear. I've shown to you that Imam al-Hassan, what the history books say that he was a passive individual, is not true. So then the question becomes, if Imam al-Hassan was so brave, then why did he not fight Muawiyah and give his khilafah to him? And this is a point that the people at that time did not understand, and sometimes the people of this time don't understand as well. Many of the insults that are put towards Imam al-Hassan is for this very decision that he made, when he gave his khilafah away to Muawiyah. To understand the decision, we need to understand the story first. Now, like I mentioned, in the khilafah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, there were 3 civil wars. Civil wars meaning 2 groups who are initially from the same source and they're fighting each other. Before the khilafah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, there were wars that were with non-Muslims. Let's say Muslim versus non-Muslim. In the khilafah of Ali, there were 3 wars between Muslims. So Muslims are ready to kill Muslims. That's why they call it the Great Fitna. It was a huge dissension between the Ummah. A Muslim was ready to put a sword on the neck of another Muslim, and it was easily, without losing any sleep, he was ready to chop his head off. Imam al-Hassan participated in all 3 of these battles. So did all the other soldiers of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Now, when the question is asked, why did Hassan bin Ali make this decision, there are 2 answers. The first answer that is given is that who are you and I to question the Imam's decision? Rasulullah says that Hassan and Hussein are Imams, be they sitting, be they standing. Which means what? Which means that if Hussein says something when he's standing against Yazid, he's still the Imam. But at the same time, if Hassan bin Ali chooses to sit and not necessarily stand against Muawiyah, he's still the Imam. Imamah does not cease to exist because of a decision of yours. In the school of Ahl al-Bayt, Imamah is chosen by God. Khilafah is chosen by God. Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa. God chooses his representatives. God chose the Prophet as his representative. So when you use that premise and you say that Hassan bin Ali was chosen by God, then you cannot doubt the decision of Hassan bin Ali. The second answer is psychologically. Imagine being a soldier of war. Psychologically, in 4 years, you fought 3 wars. Psychologically, it's heavy on your mind. There's so much trauma related to war. Going to war 3 times in 4 years absolutely tires you out, physically and mentally. The amount of loved ones you lost during the war, your brothers, you had brothers with you lost during the war. So many of the companions of his father, Imam Ali, were tired. Because when Amir al-Mu'mineen died, Imam al-Hassan is like, look, I'm going to go and finish Muawiyah off. Who's with me? But the answer that was given to Imam al-Hassan is that, listen, we're tired. We fought 3 wars in 4 years with you under your father. We can't do it anymore. We're tired. Mentally, physically, we're tired. Number 1. Number 2, Muawiyah on that side is very cunning, very smart and intelligent. He is the one sliding some dinar into our pockets here and there, and the soldiers which are on Hassan's side switching sides. Muawiyah was very wealthy. He was in charge of 4 countries: Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan. In those times it was known as Sham, Bilad al-Sham. But today, imagine 4 countries under your rule. That's how powerful Muawiyah was. And with that power comes a lot of wealth. So Imam al-Hassan was in a situation where his soldiers were ready to sell their akhirah for the sake of a few hundred or a few thousand dinar or dirham. His very own cousin, Imam al-Hassan's very own cousin, Ubaidullah ibn Abbas. He initially had 8,000 soldiers. Ubaidullah ibn Abbas is the cousin of Imam al-Hassan. Had 8,000 soldiers. He said to Imam al-Hassan, I'm ready to help you, let's go. Muawiyah slid a few thousand, or let's say 1 million dirham into his pocket. He switched sides. Just like that. He switched sides. Imam al-Hassan looked at this opportunity. He looked at how much the morale of the army is breaking down. Further than that, Muawiyah was really good at media. You all know how strong media is when it comes to portrayal of certain people. Media has such a power where it makes the good look bad and the bad look good. And if you're not informed about that decision, you may as well believe it. It's happening today in the world, in front of our eyes, where something is happening in the media and you think it's bad, but in reality it might be good. Media is not always the truth, and Muawiyah was using media as a tool to fight against Hassan. Why? So what did he do? He made a rumor and he said, Hassan bin Ali does not want to fight. He's decided to have peace with me. When this rumor broke out in the community, the Khawarij came and they literally stabbed Imam al-Hassan. The Khawarij were ex-soldiers of Imam Hassan's father, Imam Ali. Ex-soldiers who went rogue. So they literally came and they stabbed him in the leg. So Imam is thinking, listen, I'm in a situation where my father's soldiers are A, psychologically tired, B, ready to sell themselves for the sake of 1,000 dinar, C, there's so much rumor about me that even if I was to say it, nobody would believe me. So I want you to understand the reason or the context as to what Imam al-Hassan was for him to make that decision. Imam looked at this situation and he thought that, listen, why should I put my ego above the safety of the Shia of Ali? He said, why should I let Hassan bin Ali's ego overtake him in the cost of so many thousands of lives which do not need to be shed? Some of us, when we have ego and somebody's insulted us, we're ready to take it out on that guy. If somebody insults your mother, somebody insults you, you're ready to take it out on the guy. But it's something else to let go of your ego. And that's exactly what Imam al-Hassan did. And another example of the wisdom of Imam al-Hassan's decision that many people don't understand is that through this decision, he exposed the hypocrisy of Muawiyah. What do I mean? You see, he made a peace treaty. This whole idea of Hassan bin Ali giving bay'ah to Muawiyah is a myth. There's a difference between a bay'ah and allegiance and a peace treaty. Because a bay'ah is when you give allegiance and you surrender and you say, I'm going to serve you and I'm going to follow you. I'm going to be a follower. Whereas if you're engaging in a peace treaty, you're simply saying, listen, we have a difference of opinion. We can agree to coexist with one another. The same way he uses the sunnah of his grandfather, the tradition of his grandfather, in the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. Rasulullah in the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, he made sure that he wrote certain conditions with the Meccans, so that in order to show that, listen, we have peace between us, but in the philosophy behind it was to show that these people are hypocrites. They're not going to stand true with the contract. Imam al-Hassan signs a peace treaty with Muawiyah. The philosophy behind this peace treaty is that I want to expose Muawiyah's character for who he truly is. Because Muawiyah, and Yazid are two completely different people. Yazid, publicly not religious, privately not religious. Muawiyah is different. Publicly very religious, privately God knows. Two different people. So with Muawiyah, the only way we could do it is to use a peace treaty. So what did Imam set a peace treaty with? Imam, when he set a peace treaty, he put a few conditions with Muawiyah. He said, listen, Muawiyah, I'm going to give you the Khilafah under these conditions. If you accept these conditions, then we'll go through with it. What are the conditions? The first one is you stop the cursing of my father Ali in the Friday prayers. Remember what I said, media had gotten so strong at that time, where Ali's name was normal to be cursed on the Friday prayer. Every single Friday prayer they would start, may Allah withdraw His mercy from the son of Abu Talib. It had become tradition. That's how much hatred was apparent for Imam Ali alayhi salam. Number one. Number two, Imam Hassan said, don't change the sunnah of my grandfather. Do not change the tradition or the way of Islam when it comes to my grandfather. Number three, stop killing the Shia of Ali. Do not kill them. Let the Shia of Ali live. Let them live peacefully. Let them live in prosperity. Number four, the blood money of the soldiers of Jamal and Safin and Nahrawan are to be given back to their family members. And number five, the most important, perhaps one of the most important one, is that when you pass away, the Khilafah goes from you either to myself, or if I'm not alive, it goes to my brother Hussein. It does not go to your son Yazid. 5 conditions. Subhanallah, all 5 of them broken. Muawiyah did not stand to a single point in that contract. Let me give you an example. The first one, he said, don't curse my father Ali. It continued for 50 years after Muawiyah died. Cursing of Ali, 50 years. Number 2, don't change the sunnah of my grandfather. Subhanallah, Salat al-Jum'ah, Friday prayer, is meant to be prayed on a Friday. Muawiyah prays it on a Wednesday. Number 3, stop killing the Shia of Ahl al-Bayt. Hujr bin Adi, killed by Muawiyah. Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr, killed by Muawiyah. Malik al-Ashtar, let's say, ordered to be killed by Muawiyah. He did not stand by that condition either. Number 4, blood money of the soldiers of the wars are to be returned to the family. Not a single penny went. And number 5, the most importantly, is why we commemorate tonight in Muharram. He said, when the Khilafah goes, or when you pass away, the Khilafah comes to me, or if I'm not alive, to my brother Hussein, not to your son Yazid. Who did the Khilafah go after Muawiyah died? Went straight to Yazid. All 5 conditions of that treaty broken. So through this treaty, Imam al-Hassan sought to expose the character of Muawiyah. That sometimes it's okay to be in peace with people, or to sit, or not necessarily stand up and rise. If Imam al-Hussein rises against Yazid, we submit. If Imam al-Hassan sits and chooses to have a peace treaty, we submit. That's the understanding behind it. And to conclude, inshallah, it is quite an injustice that Muawiyah even gets mentioned in the same sentence as Hassan bin Ali. Imam al-Hassan, the one who is born in the house of revelation, who comes from the most purest of lines, whose grandfather is the messenger of God, is compared and said radiyallahu anhu, and is also mentioned in the same line Muawiyah radiyallahu anhu. They both fighted each other, but Allah is pleased with both of them. This is an injustice that is done to Imam al-Hassan. Hopefully tonight would have been some type of understanding that we got about Imam al-Hassan, because I truly regret the fact that our majlis comes here, we talk about Ali, we talk about Hussein, but there is very little mention about Imam al-Hassan. May Allah allow us to be lovers of Imam al-Hassan and be granted his shafa'ah on the Day of Judgment. Salawat.